Superman is a character that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people all over the world. We've all heard him called a beacon of hope, a symbol for humanity, and many other things along the same vein. But in 2013, Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers set the Man of Tomorrow down a much different path. Man of Steel was a film filled with vastly different ideas that brought Superman back to the big screen after a 7-year absence. Filled to the brim with Christ metaphors, Snyder gave fans a version of the character that, just frankly, a lot of people didn't recognize. Now, admittedly, when Man of Steel first released, I enjoyed it. I was 14 years old, and I really didn't have a grasp on what exactly made me love the character of Superman yet. You see, I had an affinity for the character since I was very young. I even wore a Superman t-shirt to my very first day of preschool. See, look at that. I was adorable. Man, if only I could go back to when I was adorable. But it wasn't until I got a few years older and more familiar with the character's mythos and realized what exactly made Superman so special. I'm not going to really go into length and depth on my opinions of Man of Steel, and I'll just leave it with this one sentence. Where Man of Steel fails the most is that it managed to divide its audience. A truly good Superman story should unite its audience. If this video is not about Man of Steel, this video is about a show that I had absolutely no faith in before the week it came out. There are so many things that really make this show great, and while it's definitely not perfect, it's a CW show, it's easily the best single season of Superman television since the animated series. Every time it would come on a Tuesday night, you'd get transported away from your actual life problems for an hour. And let's talk about why this show is so special. Bitsy Tulloch is given so much to do in this series, and frankly, that's how every adaptation of Superman should be. Lois Lane is one of the best and most iconic DC characters ever created. Debuting all the way back in Action Comics #1 in 1938, the characters had so many different iterations in the past, and even her own comic series twice. But each version on screen has always seemed like they were kind of missing something. And that's not to disrespect any of the actresses that ever played or voiced the character, but on screen the characters always seemed a little bit too one note. Sure, each iteration seemed to have the hungry journalist aspect of her character down pat, but answer me this. How many adaptations really let you know about her past? How many fill you in that Lois is an army brat? How many showed her wanting something other than a Pulitzer Prize and a date with Superman? Superman and Lois did all of that. For the first time, really, we got to see Lois cry, laugh, fail, succeed, and we even got to see her desperate in the incredible 11th episode, which deserves and has so many videos all dedicated to it. Lois is the one to take down the villain that she and Clark had been reporting on for the Daily Planet. I mean, Superman caused a pretty great distraction, but Lois landed the taser shot. And she has another scene in the series where she has a therapy session to recover from the pain of having a miscarriage with her and Clark's first child. Tulloch really gets a lot to do and does a fantastic job of showcasing her range throughout the entire show. And really, Bitsy Tulloch's the MVP. Another reason that this Lois Lane works better than any other is that she rejects Superman and instead falls in love with Clark first. Also, in the incredible 11th episode, Lois gets a TV interview with Superman, which, yes, is a cheesy scene, but that's great. It perfectly fits how Superman should be. Her producer tells her that Superman is into her, and she, in front of both of them, says that she loves Clark instead. Most adaptations, almost all of them but this one, do the opposite of that, or a mixture. They have Lois fall madly in love with Superman after he saves her life once or twice, and then have Clark stumble over himself and fall for Lois, which admittedly works. It's tried and true, but by having Lois love Clark without her know his secret makes their relationship seem all that much more important and more genuine and far less like a compensation prize. Due to the depth that she's given and all that she's allowed to do and accomplish throughout this first season, and her importance to John Henry Irons, I'm very comfortable saying that this is the very best live action Lois Lane we have ever seen. 2016 saw the launch of DC Rebirth, and with it one of the all-time best runs on Superman. Both Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason introduced a family dynamic to the lives of Clark and Lois that did nothing but remind everyone why they love the characters. In this show, instead of just one, we have two. We have the comic created Jonathan, and the show created Jordan. Immediately we get our expectations subverted by John being the one of the two that is powerless, and Jordan, who at least in the first season of the show is the more interesting of the two, developing the same power set as his father. The intro to Jordan we get in the pilot is the complete polar opposite of Clark's. It's dark, it's filled with sad memories, and it showcases his night terrors. At first, I really hated that we never actually experienced this in the actual series. But after I thought about it for a little bit and realized how much the show actually changes the status quo, and on Jordan's first day in Smallville, he meets Sarah, I really think that makes sense. See, Smallville completely flips the script on the two boys, and it gives them all two relatable high school problems to deal with throughout the series. At times, yes, they do kind of feel forced. It's CW drama and writing, so you take that with a little bit of grain of salt. But giving them relatable high school problems in a series where the father is the world's most powerful superhero, the mother is the world's most famous journalist, and their grandfather is the head of the Department of Defense, those relatable issues are very, very much needed. Lastly, on the family dynamic, having Superman play the role of dad allows for the character to say aloud the things and the themes that we see in him and it not feel forced, which gives the writers the freedom to inject ideas and lines of dialogue and themes that in other Superman live-action adaptations just never really existed. And honestly, I think we should all be kind of thankful for that, because it makes this version of the character seem much more fresh. Superman and Lois has a much higher budget than its other CW counterparts, and it really shows. The production value that it gained by the way it was shot, we really haven't felt in a superhero TV show since Daredevil. The action and powers were vastly improved from our last time seeing Tyler on screen as Superman in Crisis on Infinite Earths. This Superman did the usual on-screen stuff, fighting a big powerful threat in Morgan Edge, catching cars and trains, but we also get to see him smile and go stop a bank robbery in Mexico and give Lana Lang advice. The series was never afraid to slow down and let us live with Clark. The love we all feel for Superman comes from us feeling like Clark Kent. If we never slow down and give Clark the actual character traits that he needs, we never really get invested into Superman the way we should. I've referenced it multiple times on Twitter and in this video, but episode 11 has a very underrated and overlooked line.
I should get going.
What's the hurry? You got a big date?
No, nothing like that. Just, some Seinfeld reruns. Heat up some frozen chicken nuggets, yeah.
This might not seem like much to you. especially when you first hear it. But this is our first real on-screen glimpse as to who Clark is when he's not at the Daily Planet and he's not Superman. He is us! How many of us didn't have those exact same nights in our 20s? I'm 23. I still have those nights. It's not only how relatable the line is, but it's delivered perfectly in after we've been feeling like Clark. This line serves to make us believe and confirm that we are Clark Kent. And that's not the only one in episode 11. The other one is also in the pilot. And it was the very first line that really made us fall in love with the show.
Here you go, friend.
Thanks. Cool costume.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
That's it. That's the character I recognize. I can't imagine if this version of the character fighting Batman or snapping General Zod's neck. This is the most connected I've been with a Superman on screen that I can remember for almost ever. I mean, I'm 23. I've lived through Ralph. I got to experience Reeve through watching the movies over and over again. I lived through Cavill. I've seen George Reeves. I've watched all of the animated series. And I'm currently watching Dean Cain right now. And I've never felt more connected to an on-screen Superman. And growing up in a small town in the Midwest, a kid who really didn't fit in well or have a whole lot of friends, it's hard not to fall in love with the character of Superman. And even though I really wouldn't recognize why I love the character until I moved away from that small town to a much larger city on the East Coast. It's a parallel, and I'm not saying that I'm Superman, but it's part of the reason why people like me love the character so much. And to me, Superman is something to live up to. He's a role model for the world, something that we can all benefit from trying to be like. And it's not about the powers, or it's not about the iconic costume, the S. It's about this. It's about the message that all you need to do is all that you can do. And if you do that, then you too are Superman.